as the show title is called here. So, being the second show, I thought that I would talk about something that I've shared before. Some of you that follow me on Twitter will know I've had, a few UFO type experiences over the last month, and I was able to catch a lot of things on video, and I was tweeting that live as it was happening, so people saw, what was going on. And it's actually not my first experience. I've had a few now, and I was able to catch two of them. One being the one recently, and one from a few years ago in California. Now, let's see. All three of the ones I witnessed were in California. One of them was in Arizona, and two of them I was able to capture. Three of them technically I captured on video, but one was useless. It was too dark, and you couldn't see anything on the video, so it ended up being worthless. But two of them, ended up being very good. So I'm going to kind of go through, the stories and talk about what was going on, and then I'll share the video and stuff I have as well. So, and again, I'm kind of doing this as a live show. It's not technically live right now, but I am taping it live. So, hang with me there while I do, bring certain things up here. But all right, so let's get into it. So the first experience I'll tell you about this. I don't have any footage of this, so this is just going to be story time with Final Death Star. So this was back in 2000, and I think it was 13. So that's 7 years ago now. And I was in Phoenix, Arizona. I was at a friend's apartment complex, and we were out. This was late at night. I think it was actually about 1:00 a.m. And we were just hanging out. We were out at his pool, just talking, catching up, and it's funny because I had just been talking about UFOs, ironically to what ends up happening. I was just telling him kind of my view on what I thought they were, and being a Christian, I have a different perspective probably than a lot of people, and it's a little more unique. If you haven't ever heard of any kind of Bible prophecy or anything, it might be a little bit different. But when you get into it, I think it makes a lot of sense. But that'll be a story for another time. I think I'll do a follow-up video on kind of that, how I think this whole UFO thing kind of relates to Bible prophecy. But nevertheless, I just kind of explained to my friend all this stuff, and we were just sitting in the pool. He went underwater and kind of darted out just to do like a lap, and I was sitting on the little ledge in the pool. And for no reason, I just decided to look up in the sky. And as I looked up, I saw this completely black triangle. It was all black. It was a night sky too, but it was darker than the sky, so I could tell the outline of it. It was, perfect triangle from what I could see. I'd say it was about a skyscraper in height. And the only markings on it were each of the corners of the triangle had there were orange strips of lighting. So each of the corners had like three little strips of lights. There was nothing in the center. A lot of people report that they see some kind of center light. There was nothing in the center. It was just a triangle, completely black, with three kind of dim orange lights, strips on each of the corners. And it was completely silent. There was no sound at all into this thing. And it was over top of me. It kind of went, I looked at it. It was going up. It sort of did a curve and then went past me to the left. So, I looked up, and it was kind of right on top of me, but slightly in front of me. It just slowly did one of these, kind of curved around and kept going straight. And it was fast. I mean, it wasn't zooming, but it was fast enough that whole thing happened while my friend was underwater. So he pops his head up, and I said, like, you just look up right now. But he couldn't. It was already past in the night sky because it was hard to see. Like I said, it was dark out, so you couldn't really. It was tough to make out the the object. I was just, I just happened to look up at the right time. Had I not looked up, I never would have seen that. I don't think I would have ever known it was there. So, that was quite something. I don't know. I think these things are from from abduction stories. You hear. I don't think they're benevolent. I think they're malevolent. So I just kind of said a little silent prayer because that's what I do, and yeah, that was that. And that was the end of the story. Nothing else happened. Now fast forward to, let's see, I think this was 20, I want to say 16. Let me just check my photo log here of when the pictures were taken. Oh no, 2018. Well, I was way off. This was only 2 years ago. So 2018, this was July of 2018. This was in California, around Malibu area, the Will Rogers Beach in Malibu. My wife and I were on the beach, and it was about dusk, or the sun was not quite. I think the sun had just set, and but you could still see the light. And we were looking out under the water. We were just just hanging out. We'd been in Malibu that day, and just wanted to stop at the beach and watch the sunset, which we did, and we were just hanging out. And I just happened to look over the water, and I see this dark object kind of hovering. It was far away, so it was tough to tell exactly how high above the water, but it was enough. It was high enough where it wasn't a ship. You could definitely see it was above the water. At first I thought maybe it was a helicopter or something, but it was just hovering in place, which how a helicopter could do. So I decided, well, what, let me take my camera out, because the first thing you do if you see some weird thing in the sky is you should take your camera out and start recording. So I started recording, and I just kind of zoomed in to get a better look, and it wasn't a helicopter. So I'm gonna show you here. Just give me a second. The first picture I took, let's see here. All right. Okay. All right. So this was the picture. This was a little bit of a farther away shot. Let's see if I can. There we go. Okay. There we go. All right. So let me see if I don't know if I can zoom in with this, or will let me. Oh yeah. Well. Oh great. All right. So this is the object right here, right? So now if you look, it almost kind of looks like it's the from Star Wars, the Slave One, kind of upside down. It's like that would be the tail. That would be where Boba Fett would be. Here's the two wings. Kind of funny, but when you look at it, it's not. You could tell it's not a helicopter, right? That's definitely not the shape of a helicopter, and it is weird that it has it's definitely something sticking out there. It looks like something might be sticking out there as well. That was the first picture. So that was from a distance. So you can again see how far, like I said, it is from the, from the water. So it's hovering up there quite a bit. Now, if I can share another one, I zoomed in on it, and here's what we got. Just give me a second here. Okay, so here we go. Now this is the other picture. So I zoomed in here so you could get a better look at it. And again, it's kind of a weird. It's almost like a pea shape, like the shape of a pea or a bean, but it does have this weird little thing there, which I don't really know. It's not a propeller. It's not. It's definitely not a helicopter. And you'll see from the video, it gets even weirder. But yeah. So that was the still images that I took of this, whatever this thing is. Okay. So let's get rid of that. Now I will show you the video. So this is kind of two videos. I kind of compiled them into one, where I take I'm showing the object from where it's floating to where it goes, I guess you would say here. Let me just share this. All right, and I will kind of narrate as I go here. All right, so actually, let me make sure I'm sharing the audio here, which I don't think I am. Make sure I share audio. There we go. All right, so here we go. Now, here it is here. Okay, so here you can see, here it is, okay? That's the object right there that I just showed you the still frames of. That's it right there. Just kind of hanging out in the sky. Not really moving, you know, just kind of in place. Now I zoom up to the moon just to give you kind of perspective, you know, to show you the atmosphere, that this isn't faked or anything. This is an actual, let me do this. This is an actual event that you're seeing here. So that's the moon there. Not quite a full moon, but, you know, pretty close. Again, this was July of, was it, did I say June or July? I think I said July. It was July of 2018. So there it is again there. You can see if I zoom in. Yeah. So there it is right there. Again, you can see that there. Okay. And now what I did was I stopped filming because it was just sitting there. And all of a sudden, you know, as we're standing there, it started moving, going across and descending. So I picked up my camera, started filming again, so I could capture, you know, where it was going to go. So this is me now. This is probably, you know, maybe a few minutes later. It didn't really take too long. It was hovering in the sky for a little bit, but a few minutes later, it started moving, and now you can see here. Okay, it's right here, so you can see that dark little object there, right where right above the cursor, right there. Okay. So here, I'll keep it kind of zoomed in so you can, I might have to, well, I'll pause it because I need to control it here, but so there it is. So it's still right here, right there. Okay. Zoomed out, zoomed in, still, now if you can see, it's still right there. It's still right there. See the dark speck there, right above where my cursor is. Okay, right here. Now it starts to get lower. It's descending, getting closer to the water. It's not going over the horizon. It's getting closer to the water. That's my wife talking in the background there.
It's not a reflection.
Now, here, let's see. So it's still right here. Now it's about to go in the water. Oh, there we go. Now here, it goes down into the water right there. You can see it right there. Boom. It just went down into the water. So I'll rewind that so we can take a look at that again. So here it is. So here it is here. All right. It's going across here, and then right there, boom, it goes down into the water. And you can hear me say, "Oh, it just disappeared into the water." It's, you know, I don't know. It's so strange to me what the heck that is, you know. But yeah, that was it. So here it is here again. We'll watch it one more time. Boom, and it just goes right down into the water right there. So yeah, that's a pretty crazy experience. So that was from Will Rogers Beach a couple years ago. Then let's see, last year at one point, my wife and I were, again, it's my wife has been with me for almost, other than just the one in Arizona, because I hadn't met her yet, she's witnessed all three of these others with me. So I've, you know, had someone there. The craziest thing is there at the beach, there were other people there. No one was looking. No one else. I was looking around as I was filming this, and I even mentioned to her, I'm like, no one else is seeing this. No one else is noticing, you know, what's going on here. You know, which is crazy. But I guess, it's just people don't really tend to look for this kind of stuff. Um, I don't know. I just kind of look up a lot. So I guess I'm a little more aware of this kind of thing. But so the next incident was, yeah, last year we were jogging, and again this was in LA. We were headed back to our apartment. We were walking down the sidewalk, and we just decided to look up in the sky. It was a nice night, and I see this shape of, I thought it was a constellation at first because I was trying to figure out, what constellation, because I'm decent with constellations. I'm trying to figure out what constellation is. Like, it looks like a question mark. It didn't look like anything that I had seen. I mean, it was literally like this with, it didn't have a dot. I mean, it was just one continuous thing. It wasn't like a dot at the bottom. But, it was one kind of question mark sort of shape. And slowly, these little dots, what I thought were stars, all started kind of circling around and going up. So if you imagine there was a bunch of them here, one would go here, the other one would go here, and they would kind of follow each other up. So they were, it was one arc, and they slowly by the tail started to, all kind of scatter around. I've never seen anything like that in my life. They were slow enough where you could see it was like one after another, but quick enough that it happened relatively fast. Definitely not a comet, wasn't going across the sky. They were all in one area, and then they started like circling around together, and then they started fading out. Now I ran and got my phone because we were by our apartment. I didn't have it with me on my jog. So I ran and got it, ran outside, took a picture, tried to get some video, but it was so dark. The light, you couldn't see anything. So it ended up being kind of, worthless video, unfortunately. But the event was, quite interesting. And there were a few other people outside. No one else was looking up. So, that was another weird incident that I can't really describe. I've seen like the satellite videos where it looks like one line that goes across the sky and it's just like one little dot after dot. And they say that's satellites. That's not what this was. They weren't going across the sky. They were just in one section, kind of spinning around and doing weird maneuvers. Definitely looked like it was, orchestrated or of intelligent design. I don't really think it was I couldn't tell like a flight pattern or anything. They just kind of seemed to circle around each other and then fade out. So that brings me to most recently my Joshua Tree experience, which has been, I chronicled it on Twitter. I went live as I was seeing this on Twitter. So, some of you guys probably, if you follow me, you've seen some of this footage before. But I did do a follow-up the next day where I kind of explained everything in the daylight so you can see what I was, where these objects were. This was the first night we got there. I think it was the first night at dusk, right after sunset. We were up in the desert, and we rented an Airbnb, and we're looking out, and we see this weird triangle kind of looking thing. It was three points of light in the sky, kind of right above the mountain range, and it was slowly descending. It was too far away. You couldn't really tell if there was a structure or not. But the lights looked like they were all kind of in unison as they were moving. So again, I grabbed my camera and capture it on video. So we're going to take a look at that here. If I can pull this up. I don't know if this will. Okay, great. So, okay. Let me share this now. It's much better doing this live with StreamYards. StreamYards is great. If you guys want to do any kind of live streaming, I highly recommend StreamYards. It's very easy to use, and you can share things, share videos and audio, and it's really cool. Hopefully it's all coming out right. I hope you guys can hear all this. Otherwise, it's never mind. I look like a fool. Okay, share audio. Okay, so here is okay, so this was it. This was the first day we got there. Joshua Tree is kind of a mystical place. If you look into it, there's a lot of weird stuff, lights in the sky, kind of things going on there. So I kind of had, going up there, I kind of thought like, well, it would be kind of interesting if I saw something. And then, wouldn't you know, now I will say there is a military base in this area, which we actually drove to and got outside of it. It's a huge area. But the military base is right here. This would be like the mountain range kind of behind it. Military base would be like over here. So, this could very well be some kind of military testing, something or other. But let me play it here and let you guys see what it was. So you can see let me get a better pause screen. There, the 3 lights there, right? So you can't really see if there's an object in between, but they form pretty much a perfect triangle. And they move together. If you notice, they kind of move together. Let me make it bigger. So you see it's like slowly descending over this mountain range here.
It's huge. Whatever it is freaking huge.
Yeah, and you can tell like it's big because we're far away. Like there's a whole town down here, and that is enormous compared to what's around it. This is not close. This is I took a look. The military base is 25 miles away from my location. I believe it was 20 or 25 miles away. So this is so it's quite big to be able to see it. That well. 25 miles away.
No, it's still there. It's just kind of going over the mountain range. Wow, that's really bright. What the heck is that?
Yeah, rewind that there.
It's just kind of going over the mountain
range. So you can see it's all like, descending at the same time there.
Wow, that's really bright. What the heck is that?
The funny thing is, you always get these like bad camera views and shaky views, and you're like, why can't anyone just get a clear picture? It's a lot harder than you think because I was zoomed in on my camera. So any movement, I was trying to look with my own eyes. It's one thing to be filming like this, and you're looking at the screen, but when you actually want to see it. So when you see it and you're zoomed in, any kind of movement, that's why for a second there it kind of goes off to the side. It's, it's like you lose it. So I had to kind of keep just watching on my phone because I want to experience it with my own eyes. Like Vader says, I want to look upon you with my own eyes. And see, it goes down there. Now, the other interesting thing I noticed is if you see here, there's 3, right? There's 3 lights. There's 3 there. You can see the one just kind of going over the you can see one going over there, right? And then I was trying to look with my own eyes. And when you come back, there's still 2 there. Now, notice the one here that's above it actually goes out. The light goes out before the bottom one, which I thought was interesting because I thought, they kind of go out as they descend over the mountain or behind the mountains. But this one actually goes out before that, which I don't know why. I just thought that was interesting. If you notice here, there, right there, boom. It just kind of goes out. And, this one's still here. Now, this thing was hovering for a little bit before I started filming because I noticed it, and then I got my camera or my phone. It's not flares. Flares don't act like this. They don't descend like in unison like that. And they were hovering for a little while. Now I know flares can hover, but there was no shooting up and there's no tail. There's no really fizzling out. I mean, you can do, it's a military base, so you can argue it and say, it's flares if you want to say it, but I've looked at flares. I don't believe that's what it was. And you see it going out.
They just went down over the mountains.
There. And then it's gone. Now, that was during the day. So, that brings me to the night. That night, we saw even more weirder stuff in the sky. So, I'm going to bring these up. I don't know. Hopefully, I'll bring up the right one here. All right. Share this. Okay, so this is now at night. Now this happened over the span of about a week. So there were certain things that happened. I mean, they were all pretty similar. It was all this kind of orange orb kind of light that would appear. There'd be several at one time. I was live on Twitter for some of this, so you guys can, if you want to look at some of the things I was filming on Twitter, you can go to Final Death Star and then the number 1 on Twitter. Just scroll through, you'll find it. I was broadcasting some things that are different than what I'll show you here. This was stuff I filmed on my camera. That was stuff that was like live on Twitter. So, you know, I kind of narrate it and stuff. So you can go take a look at that if you want. But it happened over the span of a week. There were orange lights that would kind of appear. There would be one, and there'd be two, and then one would go out, and then another one appear, and then it'd be a three. You know, there were. I think the most at one time I counted was three. So I can't really explain what they were, but we'll take a look at some of the video here that I captured. So let me move this over here so I can see both screens. Okay. All right. So here it is here, right? This now I will say nothing ever looks as good as when you're seeing it in person. The best, for some reason, I found when I was filming it with this side of the camera, it would get really blurry and you couldn't really tell. When I would do like a selfie and use that side of the camera, it was a lot better. All of a sudden you could see more and, you know, it was a little more defined. So this is kind of a mixture. I took videos of both styles. So, okay, we'll watch this here. Whoops. All right, here we go. So you can see there. There's just this weird orange light. Now, again, it was a lot bigger. It looks, I mean, to the eye, it was a lot bigger than it looks now. And again, this is about 25 miles away. And then, boom, it just like blinks out. You know, not a flare. Flares don't do that. Like, no, I mean, it stays in place and then, boom, just like that, it just disappears. You know, very strange. Just blinks out. Like, you know, I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. So that was one video. Now I'll show you guys this other one here. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Okay. So here again, here it is. You know, that's around the same area that we saw the triangle thing. You can just make out the mountain range here. So it's above the mountain range. It's not, you know, it's not sitting on top of a mountain. It's not like one of the lights from, you know, for airplanes or air traffic control. It's not that. It was definitely in the sky. So you can see here. Now this is not, that's from this different town. This is a house light. So it's not the same thing as what that was. You can see how much brighter this is, you know. Now when it goes out, that looks the same, but it's not. This is in the sky. That's down on like in the little town.
Looks like what we saw later,
Right there. And I think this is the second night, and then boom, it just disappears again. You know.
It doesn't descend. It just fizzles out.
Yeah, just boom, disappears. So that was. Yeah, here we go again. You know, you see how it just hangs in place and then just goes boom, and it just kind of disappears. Crazy. So that's that was the I think that was the second night. Again, this happened over the span of like a week. There were multiple nights. There were a couple nights that nothing happened in between. It was like we saw like something for 2 or 3 nights in a row, and then 2 nights of nothing, and then it appeared again in a different area. It wasn't all around the military base, which I will show you. I do talk about that in the video during the day, where I kind of sum it all up. Now here's a closer view of this is again a different night. Oh, come on, pause. There we go. All right. Make sure I share audio. Okay. Here we go. So you can see this here.
For some reason, it just clicked into being able to be viewed a little better. And now it's brighter.
Right there.
I'm actually looking at it. It looks like it's kind of lighting up the sky around it with an orange light, which is, you know, it's hard to see.
Now, if you notice, at one point there were 2 there. You can see there's like 2. Yeah, here you can see there's 2. One, boom, just disappears right there. And then that one stays a little longer. Sometimes you would see like that one would disappear and then another one would pop up over here. That one would disappear, and then it was just weird. It was like kind of random how they were appearing and disappearing. So that was that video. Let's see what else I have here. All right, let's see. Try this one. If that, no, oh, okay. Oh yeah, this is a good one. All right. Okay, here we go with this one. Now, as small as they look on the camera, when you saw these in person, they were a lot bigger. I mean, they really lit up the sky around them. You can't really tell here, but it was quite bright. You could definitely, make out. And also, it wasn't this dark. I mean, the camera doesn't pick up things. You could see the town. You could see, the mountain range, the town around it. And this was really bright in the sky.
Oh, wow.
Now there's, yeah. Now this thing appears here. I don't know what that is. Someone else asked me that. I hadn't even noticed it when I was filming it. I can only assume it was something closer that got blurry, like a tree branch or something. I don't really know. I tried to go back out and recapture or recreate that, and I couldn't. So I don't know what this thing is that appears here. I have an answer for it. You see it here. But I think it's something that just was a lot closer that just got blurred out. Although there it looks a little more defined. Yeah, right there it looks defined. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what that is. I think it's just something natural that got caught in the camera, but I can't be sure. I don't really know. And it kind of disappears again here. Yeah, but this is what I was trying to film. Whatever that is, just yeah, I don't know. And here's another one over here. This is a different one now. And here's another one. So there were a couple of them that appeared there. The one was over here, and then you got a couple more. And here's this thing again, but I'm pretty sure that was just that's just something I caught in the camera's way, and but I don't really know for sure. I'm just assuming it had to be because it's too weird. Not the lights were the main thing. I didn't see anything else by the naked eye, at least. Okay, so let's see. I think that's pretty much. Then I got a couple still shots where you can see it maybe a little better. You can kind of see it gave a little more of a depiction of what it looked like to the to when you were actually looking at it, because the camera just didn't really do it justice. But the screen grabs or the photo, yeah, here we go. The photo did a lot better job. So this was it. So you can see how bright it is there. You see this orange hue. Now this was 3 of them. This is when 3 of them appeared, and yeah, I just I took the shot, and you see this orange hue all around it. And this is, they just hung in the sky. They didn't shoot up. Now you see this like little, I'm not really sure what that is, but nothing shot up in the sky. They just appeared out of nowhere. There was no smoke. You couldn't see any smoke, and then like you saw, they just kind of blinked out. Some of them were closer together. Some of them were a little farther apart. But it just, I don't know. It was just very weird. You never saw anything shoot up. you would just see them, like you would look, and all of a sudden there'd be one here just pop into view. There was nothing, you never saw anything coming from the ground, and then it would just fade out. It wouldn't descend. It would just fade out, just blink out. I would say like a blink, you blink and it was gone, that kind of thing. So that was the picture. All right, now I'll play the video from the next. Well, this was towards the end of the trip. This was so after the span of, I don't know, what was like 7 days of seeing things. I'd say 4 or 5 of the 7 days. I think 4 of the 7 days were included in the videos I showed you. There were 4 of 7 days that we saw something, and 3 days that we didn't see anything. I think there were 2 days back to back there was nothing, and then there was another day that kind of in between that there was nothing. And otherwise, we saw what I was showing you. So here's the last. So this is the next day, or the last day. I went out during the daytime to kind of show you. Now, if you look on Twitter, because I think I only showed you 3 of the days here on Twitter. I give there's a night that I just did it live. I don't think I took any video of it other than what was on Twitter, and I show you. This was like 25 miles away from where I originally saw. So what you saw originally in this video was all kind of in the general area. There was another night that it was about 25 miles away from that. So that was 25 miles away from me. And then about another 25 miles away, I saw something else. It was the same thing, the orange lights. But what it said to me was like, it's not all around the military base. There's stuff that's extending far beyond where the base is. So here I show you in the daytime where everything took place. So I'll just play this about like 8 minutes. I'll just let it run and make sure I play audio so you can take everything in here and get my explanation. Plus, I saw something which was extra freaky. There was something that was that was very close to our house that we were renting, and it freaked me out. I'm still not sure as to now what exactly it was, but it looked like the orange light that I'd seen in the sky, but it was way, way closer. I'm talking like 50 yards away. My wife saw it too. It was very, very bright. It was low. It wasn't in the sky. It was like low on the ground. But anyway, I talk about it here. But it really freaked us out. And I just prayed because, again, that's what I do. I prayed over it and, ended up going to sleep and nothing happened, thank God. But here, this is me explaining it here. So I will let you watch this. All right, so we're outside. I wanted to show you in the daytime kind of where these things, these lights were originating from, just so you can see it, because I know it's dark, it's kind of tough. So I'm saying, like, here's what the lights were last night. Here's where they are tonight. It's kind of hard to tell because it's so dark. You can't really see. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of a visual here. And, let's try this. Okay, so here's the first night. They were basically in this area here. Okay, so there is right around here. Actually, it's before these lower mountains there. So we've got these higher mountains there, and then the lower mountains there. Right before those lower mountains. So right down around here, there's a military base. So that's why I thought, well, there is a military base in that area. So at least with the triangle type craft, that craft was around, let me zoom this out so it's a little easier to point. That was like right around this area. That's where I saw that, So it was kind of behind the mountains, but who knows? I mean, you don't know if there's another kind of secret type of facility there that they're testing things, And I don't know, maybe it wasn't military, but that's where the first set of lights, which are during the ones I shot during the day, which are kind of like the triangle type craft with the white lights. That's where they were. Now the other lights, the nighttime, they were around here. So the nighttime we had the orange lights. The first night they were here, and there were several of them. I think at one point there were 3 of them at once. Mostly it was like one bright one, and then another one would kind of appear below it, or almost seem to come out of it. I don't really know how to, it's hard to tell because it is far away. But you could see one light bright, and they're bright. So I mean, it's far away, and those things were lighting up the sky. So
they had to be pretty big. So yeah, there were 1 to 3 of them. Definitely seemed like sometimes it looked like it was maybe coming out of the main one. Other times it seemed to appear next to it. There were no, again, there was no smoke or anything. It didn't look like there was anything being shot up. And when they disappeared, they just kind of went out in like a speck. They didn't really, they didn't fall down or start to lower. Now the second night, there was one like above here, which is, it's kind of, that's a good distance away. So there was one. The first one I saw was back in that area again. Like the first night was here. The second nights I saw them were about there, and then it was over here, like above that mountain there. So they had moved a little bit, and then the other couple nights they were all the way over here. So they were.
So this is now what I saw on, or what I filmed on Twitter. This was not part of the videos I showed you. So this is a far distance. This is the 25, another about 25 miles here from where I saw them. This was towards the end of the trip. So this was like a night or so before I filmed this video you're watching now. And yeah, it's on Twitter. You can take a look. But this is, I think I caught 3 at once. Again, I caught 3 in the sky at one time. And so that's what I'm describing here.
We're above this mountain here. And this is I think they were 2 nights back to back where I saw them here. All right, so that was very strange. Yeah, they were all in this area there, and that was 2 nights back to back. But one night there were like 3 of them appearing and popping in and out. It was pretty crazy. I went live on Twitter, so that's that one. That's that night. So we have that's a long distance. You're thinking how far out that is. That's a long distance. That right there where the base is, that's about 20 miles away, 20 to 25 miles away from where I am right now. So, this is a long distance. So whatever it was over here, I don't think the orange lights were military. There's no reason. There's nothing over here that there's no other military base in the area, especially not over there. So, I don't know. It's very strange. The first craft could have been some sort of military that was over there because the Air Force Base is there. But then all the orange nights that come out at night, I don't know. That's a big difference. The other thing is there was the one that I saw close, and that was freaking weird. And that was up in this area. Now, there are some houses here. I've looked each night since that's happened and seen nothing. The orange light was bright, and it seemed to kind of pulsate very much like the ones that, that I was seeing over here. I was seeing that like up there. And but there was no lights at all the next couple nights when I was looking up there. I saw one little house light, but that was in no way the same thing. So because I tried to see it, I thought, well, maybe it's a house light, maybe it's just something security, some sort of security light, but there's nothing out there. So I don't know, I don't know what to say about that. Okay, so the second weird thing that I saw when I was seeing all the lights over here that night, I went live on Twitter, and it's actually still in that live video. There was something coming from this direction, right up here. Now there's some houses up here. They're kind of spread apart, but there's.
So I just refilmed what I was describing there because I didn't like the camera view of it. But here, I'll go to this part.
Much like the other ones were, much brighter than any house that was up there. So I decided to go back in the house. I stopped. I cut the live feed, went back inside the house, came back out to look at it because I just wasn't sold on what the heck it was. It looked so much like the other ones. My wife saw it too and thought, this is freaky. That doesn't look like a house light. It's way too bright, and it's considerably close. It was still there. It was there for the next hour. I'd peek, kind of peek out every now and then, look. I mean, I was getting a freaky feeling, because I'm starting to feel like this isn't right. Like that, there's the area where that is, because I can see now, like in the light I just showed you guys, there are some houses up there. Right where this light was, there's not really a house. It's kind of a space between 2 houses. So the next couple of nights, I came out here again to see if that light was there, for any reason. Haven't seen it again, not once. I also haven't seen any of the lights that were back there that I've seen the prior week. Haven't seen anything the last couple of nights. So it's very strange. The only thing that I see up there is a little dim house light, and there's a white light but it's a normal, you can tell it's like a normal floodlight or something on a house. It's not the orange light that I saw that night, which I do, which is in the live video. I kind of look over there briefly and, say like, oh, now there's a light up here. And then I went back inside the house and cut the feed. But I kept coming out that night and seeing it. So I don't know. It was kind of freaky because you see him back there and it's like, oh, cool, crazy, wow, it's way back there. But then you see something that's like right freaking here. That's a different story, Now it's like, whoa, why are they so close? I hadn't seen. The other thing is, the other nights when I'd seen the lights back over in the mountains, hadn't seen anything over there. There were no lights. There wasn't that orange light. So it was just the one night. But it freaked me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little weird. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a shot in the daytime so that you could see exactly where these things were. Because I know in the video at night it's so dark, it's hard to see, and even the camera, this view I found out by going live the second time, does a better job for some reason. It captures the lights a little more like you see them in person than the front view of the camera. The front view distorts them. I don't really know why that is. I guess it's something with the lens, but it just distorts them and makes them look like, I don't know, some like pulsating lights. It's very strange, but when you look through this camera, the screen camera, you get a better depiction of what they kind of look like. So, but this is basically just to give you guys a look at where exactly they're coming from. So I mean, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so that's it. That's my several different experiences with what I would say are UFOs, unidentified. It could be, some of that could be military or not. I don't know. It's very strange. Like there is a military base around that area in Joshua Tree, but 25 miles away where I saw it later in the week, there was not a military base around there, and certainly right up around where the house was that we were renting. So your guess is as good as mine. I would like to know what you guys think of all this, and if you've had any kind of experiences, or if you have any kind of footage or anything that's yours that you took, definitely let me know. Drop me a line, contact me on Twitter. Again, it's Final Death Star #1 on Twitter, so you can find me there, and you can check out the other videos that I posted when I went live. They're up there too. Also, the one that was closer to the house, I do catch a little glimpse of that as I'm kind of turning before I cut the feed and go in the house, because it was very unsettling. But I did keep going out there. My wife and I, we couldn't let it go. So we would be like sitting there trying to forget. We watch TV, like, you think it's still there? Is it still there? Let's go. We kind of go out and see and be like, it's still there. It's still there. Eventually, like I said, I just said a prayer, went to bed, and I didn't see it the rest of the couple nights that we were there. It was situation normal. So yeah, I don't know. You tell me. All right, guys. Thank you for watching this. I know it was a little long, but it was a lot of information, a lot of footage and stuff, and I just want to kind of get it all out there in one video or live stream, just so you could see it, and people have been asking me to do this. So there you go. I hope it was good. I hope you were able to see and hear everything. I tried to kind of break it down and pause it and show you guys with the cursor. It's always tough trying to do this online because it's never quite like you're right there showing you on the camera or on the phone. But I hope it came through all right. It's just very interesting, and I think I'll do a video. I'll do a video in the future on this Enter the Nether, where I talk about what I believe it is and how it's connected based on my belief and my faith in Christianity and the Bible. But it's probably, for most people, it's probably not like anything you've heard, because I have a kind of a different take. Although it's very biblically based, it's just probably different than you've heard. It's a lot more based in, I think, what science kind of tells us. So, stay tuned for that if you're interested in that kind of thing. And thank you for watching. And until next time, be excellent to each other. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later. Take care.